It's time we talk about this, man. Because honestly, I am a huge fan of Treyarch. I was a huge fan, and I am the biggest fan of zombies ever. Probably not the biggest fan, but I'm probably not as big as Mr. Raffle Waffles or Noah J. But I am a big fan of zombies, and that was my childhood growing up. I can't remember one of these videos. I told a story about when I got my PlayStation. I'm sorry, Xbox. It was an Xbox 360. Then I got a PlayStation 4 later on in life. But I got a. Let me switch. Let me switch this so y'all can. I got an Xbox 360. My friends said there were two good games out right now, or that were coming out. Black Ops 2 and Halo 4. Okay, those were the two. Set the time period is about 2012. And I think it was a special edition Xbox 360 that came with Black Ops 2. And then my birthday is around the time of the release of Call of Duty titles. I think this one might have came out on my birthday, November 12th. And my mom, as a gift, God bless her, got me the Xbox 360 bundle with Black Ops 2, and then also got Halo 4 on top of that. So I was pretty spoiled at Christmas. So I get home and I heard a lot of good stuff about Call of Duty. Didn't know too much about it, but I heard a lot of good stuff about it. And so I pop in Halo 4 because I wanted to save Call of Duty for last. I heard they were both great games. But when I was a kid, I had a pretty shitty attention span. Okay, let's just keep that. Let's just quick backstory, like very quick. When I was a kid, unless there was action going on in a movie, unless bad guys were actively punching each other, or there was some sort of violence or something going on that was flashy and in your face, I wasn't paying attention. Unless that was going on, I wasn't paying attention. I didn't care about the store. I didn't care about the storyline. I didn't care about the dialogue. I didn't connect two pieces together like in a movie when they have a plot twist or something and you're supposed to be like, oh, that's how that makes sense. Because earlier in the movie, nah, I wasn't paying attention to none of that. I just wanted to see people punch each other, Spider-Man whip something, Transformers punching each other, or transforming. It's something like that, right? So I pop in Halo 4 for the first time, right? That's how I am with movies. And with video games, it was worse. Because I hopped in there and obviously I don't know what's going on because it's the fourth Halo in the series, but I didn't care at the time. I didn't pay attention to that. Uh I play it for like maybe 5-10 minutes. I'm shooting these aliens or something. I don't even know who I am. I'm pretty sure I'm Master Chief. I still haven't played Halo 4 to this day, to be honest. But uh I'm shooting the aliens in the game, the bad guys, and I'm just incredibly bored. And I hated it. I was like, this is what everybody's talking about? Very odd. Very odd. Very odd. How does Trump say it? Very odd. It was the hottest thing I've ever played. Okay? It's the hottest thing I've ever played. Super horrible. Super horrible. And so I say, you know what? Let me give Black Ops 2 a try. And that, ladies and gentlemen, sparked a 10-year YouTube channel and a dedicated zombies YouTuber named Nukeman2026. That was me. And it was mainly zombies. I covered zombies content. As Black Ops 3 came out, of course, I got hyped about it. I ended up getting so deeply immersed in the game. I loved it. I loved every second of it. I loved the radios. I loved Richtofen. I loved Maxis. I loved the transit characters. By the time Black Ops 3 came out, I was ecstatic. What's going on with my... We good now? All right, I think we're good. But by time Black Ops 3 came out and then the storyline came out, like the actual storyline of the game, I lost my shit. Because I was so happy. I was like a kid in a candy shop jumping for joy. It was amazing. It was a beautiful sight. It was a beautiful day. All the loose ends tangled together, connected together. It was a beautiful day for Mal the guy, or Malachi. So yeah, and I loved a lot of things about Call of Duty. Loved it. From the multiplayer to zombies, I was really versatile. Even though zombies was my main guy, multiplayer was my thing. Until about a few years ago. When I think it was Cold War came out. And we had that's when I began, what do you call this? We begin the trial of giving Call of Duty constant excuses, because that game, relatively, like rightfully so, we kind of had to give them the benefit of the doubt. They worked with what they could because of COVID, right? And they created what they created. So if you liked it, great. If you didn't, well, cut them some slack a little bit. You know, it's been since the pandemic, but we've kind of made a pretty bad habit of giving Call of Duty excuses. You know, I didn't play any of the Modern Warfares, like the newer ones, like after 2020. I gave Cold War a try because I loved Treyarch. I love Treyarch. Did love them. What is going on with my lag, brother? We are lagging today, buddy. I'm not even doing anything today. How well am I connected to the internet? I'm connected. It's weird. I played Black Ops 6 because I heard that was going to be huge. I got the game. I played it. It had a really strong start, and then it just went down the toilet. And I couldn't tell you if it was between banning me for cursing in a lobby where other people are cursing at me and not getting banned, but I say something and now all of a sudden I'm banned. Or, you hear me out, it's going to be a crazy concept. Cursing in a game that has characters cursing, or promoting drugs, or blood, or gore, ripping people apart, stabbing people, slaughtering people, murder. Am I missing anything? I don't think so. But you're gonna ban me because I said the F word? I said fuck? Do you guys not know who the hell you are? You know what I mean? Like, anyway, I could go on and on, but I thought we'd watch a video about it because I've been getting flooded with videos on Call of Duty and the disaster of Call of Duty. I could give my opinions on it at the end. I've kind of already started. The other thing I was going to mention is the skins. You're not Fortnite, dog, but that's kind of the whole meat and potatoes behind Call of Duty, bro. Is that they really have just tried as hard as they could to change the identity of their game to match another man's game. And I think that number one is the most shameful thing you could ever do. Especially when you have such a great IP. Or had. They had such a great IP, bro. So without further ado, YouTube. Making sure I'm not lagging. YouTube, what up, though? We gotta lock into one of these videos, bro. Because I really gotta... Oh, Lex got one. AI companion. What the helly? Black Ops 7 is getting blasted with hate right now. Let's see, that's 2 days ago. I want to see somebody give a retrospective, and then I can kind of feed my opinions off of this. But I want to find one that I haven't watched already. 6 days ago. Should we try to do one that's more recent? Oh, 4 hours ago. That's beautiful. Let's go with that.
Imagine being able to build anything just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44.
Shut your mouth. Hey, just for the record, Drifter, shout out Drifter. I have seen a lot of his videos before. Great YouTuber. I mean, obviously, most of you probably know who he is before me, because I only have 34 subscribers. But shout out Drifter. And, yeah. Lego.
Here. Today, I want to talk about the Black Ops 7 launch, because it's going so poorly that a sitting congressman has made calls to investigate Activision and also potentially create new regulations around the use of artificial intelligence in American game development. I wish that I could say I was kidding or exaggerating or this is just some nonsense I'm spouting because I'm a hate channel, but it's extremely real and it's something that we're going to talk about in depth today in the back part of this video. But back to Black Ops 7, the rest of the launch has been equally disastrous in terms of sales, player retention, reviews, and a number of objective quality measures. It's going so poorly that I would say this might be the true beginning of the end of Call of Duty, or at least an end of the era of Call of Duty dominance for FPS games. Black Ops 7 has flopped so hard that I decided to flip-flop on my goal of not talking about Call of Duty and also not talking bad about it for the sake of views. For all 12 of you that don't know, I'm very sick, maybe dying, we don't know, and I quit Call of Duty this year due to burnout and the fact that I didn't want to spend my last days of creating content just cranking out Call of Duty hate content for views, and I kind of wasn't intending to cover this topic. But Black Ops 7 is cratering to the point to where it came back onto my radar again because, again, Congress is getting involved.
That's nuts.
It became a topic so big that I felt that I had...
Dude, and that's this number one. There's so many things wrong with Call of Duty right now that I could just sprout off of. But Congress getting involved, I don't know about the rest of y'all, but in my mind, every time I hear new info about Activision or Treyarch, I just think of this giant, disgusting, hunchback monster who's just constantly getting shamed for being stupid. I don't even understand. Like, I don't know how else to picture it. I see it in my mind and I can visualize it in my mind. But it's just like this. And he's not like a cute monster either. He's like nefarious. He's constantly doing bad and evil stuff. You know, the fact that he looks ugly just happens to match his ugly personality. But it's like, he's so bad now that even congressmen are taking action into this. That's nuts. Imagine being that scummy, bruh. Imagine being that scummy that now government is on your ass, bro. You're a video game. What does Congress have to do with your ass? You a video game. What? And you're so nefarious and vile that the government gotta get involved? The U.S. federal government gotta call you by your name? By your government name? Like, I don't think you understand, to get on the radar of the government, you have to actually be so scummy. You have to actually be so scummy. Because now you're costing the government their peace of mind, and whatever nefarious shit they're doing, you caught their eye by doing your own crazy stuff. That's crazy. Let's continue
to talk about it because it represents a monumental shift in the gaming landscape and especially in FPS gaming. Like, it's not just Call of Duty news anymore, but Black Ops 7 is games industry-wide news, or more specifically, the Black Ops 7 launch debacle. So we're going to circle back around on the congressman and hit some details, but for now, I want to talk about some objective measures of the success of Call of Duty Black Ops 7's launch, and I think we should start by talking about sales numbers. According to Metro UK, physical retail sales of Black Ops 7 are down 61% compared to last year. That's an utterly massive decline for Call of Duty, which is usually extremely consistent in its sales. And there are some arguments to be made that this data only comes from the UK and it might not be reflected.
No. Now, let's talk about that too. What is this, a 15-minute video? I'm going to pause a lot probably because I want to give my own opinions. And I don't want to forget by time the ideas came and gone, you know what I'm saying? So, okay. Y'all need to take into account, okay, I'm a Call of Duty fanboy too. Trust me, I was. I don't even want to say I am, but I mean, I'm still watching zombies content from Mr. Raffle Waffles. I just didn't buy the game. I don't think it's worth $80 or $70. I think that's just horseshit for what the game is, but I'll watch it for free. I mean, it doesn't cost me a dime to watch the gameplay. But the Steam numbers, that's what I was getting at. The Steam numbers Okay? Fanboys, listen up. I'm going to step on some toes here, and I need y'all to be very understanding. There's a couple things that you can use to implicate whether or not the low numbers are because of Game Pass or because naturally the game is just booty cheeks. Okay, there's 3 things I can think of off the top of my head. Number 1, how bad Call of Duty Black Ops 6 got last year. And the amount of complaints that were had last year. A lot of those people said they were done. And unless you thought they were just bluffing when they said that, well, that's up to you. But I don't think they were bluffing. Because like even someone like me, I bought, this is the first Call of Duty. Black Ops 6 was the first Call of Duty I've ever uninstalled. And Black Ops 7 is the first Call of Duty I've never bought. Okay. Other than that, I double glazed, shout out regular show, double glazed Call of Duty. Take that into perspective. And there are people out there just like me, okay? But the how badly the Black Ops 6 ship crashed is one part. The second part is, keep in mind last year, or whenever Black Ops 6 was, like last year, the Steam numbers were impeccable. Even with Game Pass. The Steam charts were impeccable, my brother. 350,000 on Steam. Now it can't even bust what? It hit 100,000. Record high was like 100,000. And now it's, I think I saw numbers like yesterday, because like I said, I've been watching these a lot. It's like 58,000. That's telling, bro. That's telling. Even with Game Pass, that's telling. The Game Pass isn't an excuse. Number 3, and I think this is the biggest thing, and I saw this on a video and I want to kind of regurgitate what it was saying, but I also thought the same thing, and I was surprised nobody talked about it until I'd seen it on somebody's video, and I can't remember who it was. Every year, Call of Duty brags, usually with an Instagram post, a YouTube post, Facebook post, or maybe all the above, wherever they can get their hands on the post to post at. And it's usually a generic background of whatever the front cover of the game is, with text on it that says, "We broke record numbers. Thank you for a huge opening weekend. We've had the most breaking record numbers of this and that." They do that every year. Because truth be told, even if the game ended up sucking, it usually goes up in sales every year. And the last 2, 3, 4 years, all I've seen is Call of Duty posting that shortly after launch. We're excited to announce that we've had record high numbers and the community base is awesome. They didn't do that this year. That's my point. They did not do that this year. They didn't even dare. They did not dare to even try touching numbers. Going near that topic. They shied so far away from that topic. And what it seemed more like was, it seemed like they were trying to give their own team participation trophies. That's what it looked like. They came out with the post not with record-breaking numbers, not with delightful news, but just a thank you to Treyarch, Activision, and like maybe 1 or 2 other studios. And almost gave them a pat on the back saying, "Good job. Good job, team." For what? Anyway, those are 3 telltale signs right there. 3. That it has nothing to do with Game Pass. It has nothing to do with other consoles. The game flopped hard. Let's go.
Of the rest of the world, and arguments that are reasonable, such as corporations are shifting towards digital sales of new games and retail sales are going down every year, but that doesn't account for the really precipitous drop here. Typically, the decline in rate of retail sales is something like 10% or less per year, and also if a game is really hyped and it sells really well, it's not uncommon for it to buck that trend just because the game is so popular. So while this is an imprecise measurement of game sales, and I'm sure we'll get more data later, I do think that it's good enough for us to reasonably infer that sales are going to be significantly down in other regions and through other distribution methods as well. I've also noticed that Activision has not put out a press release this year saying that Call of Duty has sold X number of copies or generated Y billions of dollars.
I said that.
Whatever. And that's, at least as of recording this video, by the time it comes out, maybe that changes, and every year those numbers do tend to come out a couple of weeks after launch, and they've tend to be the announcements from the company that have been very carefully worded by the PR team to make sure that Call of Duty looks good. But the point still stands that everything we can observe right now indicates that the sales are significantly down, and one of those things we can observe is the player count. The only publicly available metric that we have for player count is Steam Charts, or SteamDB in this case, and this only measures players on the Steam network, which is going to be on PC. It doesn't count Battle.net players or console players, so it is truly only capturing a fraction of the console base. That being said, most game analysts still use Steam data to project trends onto consoles and other platforms, and I think it's good enough for a ballpark measurement of popularity. So, for example, Battlefield 6 had something like 840,000 players during its launch week. That's where it peaked, I should specify. Comparatively, Call of Duty appears to have peaked around 100,000 players during its launch week of Black Ops 7, and that number has rapidly begun to fall off. It's important to note that Call of Duty still combines several games into the COD HQ, so not all of those players are even Black Ops 7 players, so it's got to be a little bit less than 100,000 even on launch week, and as of recording this video, it's averaging somewhere around 65,000 players at any given time. Those numbers would be good for most games, and still has Call of Duty at a number 14 spot on Steam, but it's absolutely brutal compared to what Call of Duty used to be. To put this in perspective, the finals is still...
As this video was playing, I was checking Steam, 66,000 on right now.
Still averaging about 12,000 people a day, so Call of Duty is only about 6 times the size of that game, even though they spent $1 billion and launched a new product this year. Other industry reports about console player bases aren't looking much more flattering, and if I go to Twitch right now and look at the viewership again, which again is... It's not a one-to-one comparison, but it's a reasonable barometer to get an idea of the sort of hotness of a game. Black Ops 7 is struggling to maintain its place amongst the top 10 category on the platform, but it's still outperforming Battlefield and Battlefield RedSec right now, which is interesting. It really seems like everybody's just playing Arc Raiders or Tarkov. I guess Extraction is the wave at the moment. I can say that judging from social media engagement, YouTube views, Reddit posts, and other places on the internet, my subjective vibe check opinion from all of those is that it appears that all levels of engagement on Call of Duty are down, even negative engagement, even kind of hateful stuff, to be honest. But we're not done talking yet. Let's talk about the actual quality of Black Ops 7 really quick. We're going to talk about AI, and then we're finally going to get to this Congress getting involved thing. So let's take a look at the reviews on Metacritic. These scores are unflattering. As of recording this video, the average critic score for the game is 69, which is not nice, but actually really low for Metacritic, and it's been declining over time. It started off higher, and it's just been kind of creeping its way down as more reviews roll in. I suspect by the time...
When it comes to that, I mean, to be completely honest, let's see, this was the critic, right? It used to be high. It used to be like at 80. Let's see, yesterday, a couple days ago, when people were reviewing the game and using Metacritic as like a example, it used to be in like the high 80s. Maybe 90s. I remember seeing 89, I think, on here at one point. So the fact that it's going down, even with the critics, is actually nuts. But yeah, this number has relatively stayed somewhat the same. I mean, it's stayed to, yeah, I don't think I've seen it above 2, to be completely honest. I think I've only seen it above 2, or I'm sorry, under 2. It's like 1.9, 1.8, 1.7, 1.6. Clearly they were paid to give a good review. It's just kind of obvious. I mean, there's just no way they're playing the same game that these guys are playing, bro. There's just no way. But yeah, I mean, when it comes to the bottom score, It could be review bombing. It could be from people who don't even have the games. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and say it probably is. Like, a lot of these reviews are probably from people who don't even have the game and just want to shit on Call of Duty. That's fair. I can because I can say, I definitively say that I don't think that all 2,209 of these are, they all have Call of Duty. I just don't believe that. So, review bombing, partially. But are they review bombing because they're jealous of how good the game is? Or are they review bombing because genuinely from what they've seen on YouTube, it's just really, really bad? And this is on top of the people in this review rating that does have the game, you know, who rated it bad. So, yeah.
As of recording this video, the average critic score for the game is 69, which is not nice, but actually really low for Metacritic, and it's been declining over time. It started off higher and it's just been kind of creeping its way down as more reviews roll in. I suspect by the time this video comes out that more critics will have dropped it even lower, but user reviews show a sharp divergence in opinion. It's got a 1.7 out of 10, which is the lowest I've ever seen for a Call of Duty game on Metacritic. I think that's even lower than Infinite Warfare got in the past. Beyond all of this, community sentiment and comments on videos and things like that have all been pretty negative as well. That's a bit of a vibe check. I would need like an AI LLM to creep over all of the comments and ingest them and analyze the positivity or negativity of the language, but my subjective monkey brain looking at it mostly sees negativity. There's been a big change up in the creator space as well, because I've noticed a lot of creators that are typically very friendly to the Call of Duty brand have had some negative things to say about it and have been distancing themselves. My former competitor in making guides, Exclusive Ace, decided to spin off and make a new channel for Call of Duty to get Black Ops 7 off of his main channel to avoid the negativity. I watched a video from Prestigious Key just today talking about how the campaign is absolutely terrible, and I've been noticing a trend of big Warzone streamers suddenly transitioning into big multi-game streamers. Even Moist Critical got into the Call of Duty hate.
Wow. That is nuts. Warzone people are not even tapped in. That's literally what they modeled their entire game after. Multiplayer, zombies, and the campaign have all been victim to the Warzone-ification. Like Call of Duty have said at the very, not, they haven't said this literally, but like at the very least they have Warzone to rope people in, and they're not doing that anymore either. Wasn't Avalon this map? No, Verdansk. Because they got JD and said, we need you on Verdansk. Wow. That's, I don't know how to feel about that. That's sad for them, but it's good for me. It's happy for me because I hate Warzone in its entirety. I think it was a plague to Call of Duty. I think it couldn't have been a plague if Treyarch and Activision didn't seep their Warzone-y little tentacle fingers into every single mode that followed Warzone. Like, if they just kept that separate from the rest of the game modes, I don't think it could have been a plague. I think it would have been great. I would have actually possibly admired it, but because it's overlapped everything, and everything answers to Warzone now, or did, I don't know, whatever. Yeah, I just, that's more why I dislike it. Not because of the gameplay mechanics or whatever. I've tried it a few times. Warzone's okay. It's alright. It's just Fortnite in first person, you know, and without the build. I play zero builds, so for me, it's literally just Fortnite first person. With extra steps, but you know, I mean, it's okay. I'm really more this type. I like to hop in a short map, like relatively short in comparison to Warzone. You know, play good 30 minutes, maybe an hour, 20, 30 minutes, just killing people in a lobby and then hopping off the game. I'm not really huge into the battle royale with games like this. With Fortnite, for some reason, it wires in my brain different. I like Fortnite, but with stuff like this, I mean, I don't know. But then it makes it even worse when it literally bleeds into every other mode. that Treyarch has to give. It's ridiculous.
Train this year, which is a little bit unusual for him. While he does criticize games, not normally this hard. And while I do fully confess to not having played Black Ops 7 yet, because I believed I had better things to do with my time, I haven't seen anything from the game that makes me want to play it. The campaign, to be as generous as I can, looks really rough. It reminds me of the Modern Warfare 3 campaign. You can just run through it real quick and...
Hey Jess, are you coming to the morning meeting?
Sorry, Sam, I can't today.
I couldn't see the skip button. My
just
phone was
blow
in front
through
of
it
it.
like it's nothing. Poorly thought out. Health bars everywhere. The big skibbity boss fight was very bizarre. Zombies mode looks
Why
okay.
would he?
That's not really my thing. That's not...
Why did he call it the skibbity bot? Why did Charlie call it that? I have no idea why he called it that. Is it because bro's eyes are red like the I didn't get the reference. Like I don't get the skibbity toilet reference. Bro's not in the toilet. Bro's not just a head popping out of nowhere. Like you see his torso and shit. I didn't get the reference, but anyway.
Normally what I do, but that looks okay this year. Multiplayer, unfortunately, looks like a high-end mobile game, and I'm going to try to keep my personal criticisms of Black Ops 7 to a minimum, because I did promise you guys that I didn't want to make hate content just for the purpose of getting views, and I also wanted to be respectful to the artists that worked on this game, but it really does deserve a degree of criticism here. The textures and details on the maps, the lightings, the weapons, the character models, and all the small details in the game just look out of date. It kind of looks like Black Ops 2 remastered, but in a bad way. It really looks like a well-designed mobile game that's supposed to be running on iPhone, and that is confusing to me. I don't know why that's the case with everything here, but I feel like this genuinely should be a mobile game. I said I wanted to be respectful to artists, but that's kind of hard because not all of the artists that...
Because they got AI in their games. Womp womp.
Worked on this game are human. That's why sitting US Congressman Ro Khanna is now calling out Activision. Yeah, so for real, sitting members of Congress are criticizing Call of Duty, not necessarily just for making a bad game, but rather Ro Khanna is upset because somebody on Twitter showed him evidence of Activision using AI to generate assets for their game. And while it's not exactly proof positive unless somebody at Activision confirms it, all indications are that they have started creating calling cards, emblems, and some of the in-game assets using AI. We know that they make some things using AI. We're just never really allowed to know what. This usage of AI
Right
in
here,
particular
boy.
is
I'm so glad it popped. I was about to pause it, and then it finally popped up. My boy, I could create this in ChatGPT in 5 seconds, brother. Should I try and do that? I'll try and do that here in a little bit. No cap, I've created thumbnails that look exactly like these in ChatGPT. I could not tell you the difference. I could not tell you the difference between these calling cards and what images I've used for thumbnails before. Not for my channel, at least, but for other channels. Like, that's ridiculous. I have less than $1,000 in my checking account. Activision is $1 billion company. You see the difference? Activision, you see the difference? I don't have my own house yet. You're $1 billion company. And we're on the same playing field here. Like in terms of the calling cards, we're on the same playing field. I can create this in 3 seconds. And you know, one of the videos, man, I wish I could link it, but they said it very perfectly. Like they could have trained their own AI. If they were gonna fire artists and be cheap, be Eugene Krabs, they could have just trained their own AI based off of their own calling cards that they've had in the past and had the AI puke out new calling cards that look unique, look different, don't look like the normal AI like this. And it would have looked Call of Duty because they would have literally trained it, but they couldn't be bothered to do that, right? Because that would require putting in work. Actual work. It would show that you care about the consumer, not so much to where you'd hire your own artists to make, decent artwork, but at least you take the passion and the creative energy to train your own engine and invest your own time and energy and money into an engine so that your fans can get quality AI art. I feel like that's an oxymoron, quality AI art. But you get my point, But no, I bet you we'd had maybe a team of devs go on ChatGPT, or what's the big one everybody uses right now? I can't think of the name. I can't think. There's like a million out there, but Sora, that's a video one. Anyway, probably just hop on ChatGPT, make me a Ghibli style art of a dude catching a really big fish. Send. Oh, wow. Wow, that looks close enough. We'll just slap that right here. But John, why is this guy pointing? Well, because it's a big fish, obviously. Well, what's this second guy for? Well, because it's a big fish, obviously. Well, what's with the random knight's plate in his mouth? Well, because he's a big fish, obviously. Oh, yeah, John, that makes sense. Go ahead and put that in the game then. That's how I feel like the conversation went down, how this got put in here. That's how I feel like it got to this point. Because it just can't get any worse than this. It really can't. The only way it could get worse than this is if we traveled back a few years, or if we find out that not only are they just reusing, because we have found out that they're reusing calling cards from their older games, but if we find out they're reusing calling cards from their previous games where the AI was worse, like Six Fingered Santa, bro. I don't know how much more disgraceful you can get than this, to be honest. And bro, I don't even care about the cards at the end of the day. Like, I'm getting all worked up, but I don't even care about these cards. It's just the fact that, like, this is I'm spending $80 on this, bro. I do not want anything that I could create right now to be in something that I'm paying $80 for. And the fact that they think it's okay they're not a mom and pop company. They're not a Kickstarter small team that just started last year. And they kind of got to pick and choose where they got to cut their ties, and figure out where to place their assets. No, this is a multi-billion-dollar company. Like, what are we doing? This is what I'm spending $80 on, for real? And that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Worthy in its egregiousness and in the fact that it was using last year's very popular Studio Ghibli AI generator model that resulted in a big lawsuit. I fully admit to being an AI hater, but I don't mind AI that's done right. What's not doing right is being a corporation valued at almost $70 billion, whose parent company is Microsoft, and you have somewhere north of 10 different development studios working on Call of Duty, mostly support studios, but all working on Call of Duty, and yet the company still decides to cheap out and just crank out a whole bunch of AI-generated art instead of using...
Amen. Amen. Amen, brother. Amen, bro. I said the exact same thing. I swear I didn't watch this video. But I'm telling you, we all kind of have the same collective thoughts, because it really is not that hard to dissect this. But holy, amen. Amen. That was a great way to put it.
Using real artists.
Great minds think alike, man.
I think that's absolute nonsense. If a one-man dev team who's publishing indie games on Steam wanted to use generative AI to make some kind of assets that he didn't have 500 hours to do, maybe I wouldn't prefer that as a customer.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure it's going to get easier. Bro, like, it's going to get easier. So, like, the problem is that not so much with AI itself. You know, as I said a second ago, I wouldn't have been mad if Treyarch took the engine or NAI, just any AI in general, and they just fed it information to make it generate its own calling cards. I would be perfectly fine with that. That's fine. That's using AI to because I remember when they gave some corporate bullshit excuse just a few days ago when they were answering the whole AI, not conspiracy, but I guess conflict with them and the public. And they said something like, like many companies, we also use AI to do this, that, and the third. And then you get this. You're not using AI to help anything. You're using it to quite literally make the art. You know, so my query isn't really with using AI in video games. It's more using it the right way. Like the example, like I just said, like if they had their own AI that they were feeding calling cards from their previous games, a whole bunch of information, maybe there's zombies content, multiplayer content, you know, they like to usually have a lot of skulls and kind of sci-fi aspects in their calling cards sometimes, put that in there, the art style, and then it produced content, then we'd be talking a different story. You know, I could respect that. And I think Arc Raiders did the same thing with voices, with voice dialogue and AI. You know, I agree that we're pretty much never going back. You know, the AI Pandora's box is open. It's too late. You got to either adapt with the times or you're going to fall behind. You know, unfortunately, that's the world we live in. So, you know, it's not necessarily stuff like this that is... I'm sorry, pause. Let me back up. It's not AI that's the problem. I'm willing to work with companies like doing AI stuff. That's fine. You know, at the end of the day, if I don't like it that much, I can just not spend my money on it. But this is just without excuse. I cannot give an excuse for this. I cannot give respect to this. I cannot give an excuse for this. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I hope it gets easier. I hope it gets easier to create actual good art. I really hope it does. I really hope it does get easier to create actual good art and not this garbage. But that's besides the point. Where are we at?
And yet the company still decides to cheap out and just crank out a whole bunch of AI-generated art instead of using real artists.
Yep.
I think that's absolute nonsense. If a one-man dev team who's publishing indie games on Steam wanted to use generative AI to make some kind of assets that...
Holy shit, I said the same thing! I literally just said the same thing. I promise you, right hand in the air, I have not watched this video. I have not watched this video.
500 hours to do. Maybe I wouldn't prefer that as a customer, but I would get it. I understand the necessity.
Exactly. I would understand. Like, if it was a small Kickstarter company or some small company and they're making a really good game or just a decent game or just a game I'm interested in, and they're like, hey guys, we recognize the shitty AI art in the background, but listen, we can only allocate our resources so many places before we're overworked. Can you work with us? Maybe then I'd be like, you know what? Yeah, I completely understand. Like that's your game looks cool. And if you got to sacrifice, you know, obviously you have a small team. If you got to sacrifice some things, you know, just to make sure other parts of the game are really cool, then sure thing. I can work with that, you know.
Blizzard doesn't need to be using AI because they have more than enough resources to make anything they want with real people and employ real Americans, or at least spend real American dollars engaging in the global economy and support studios all over the world. So Ro Khanna is really recommending regulations or possibly investigations in the standard politician lip service kind of way to get some sort of clout or whatever for it. But his goal is to hopefully prevent American game developers from losing their jobs to artificial intelligence. I agree with his sentiments in all of this, but I also recognize that's just not how capitalism is going to work.
Unfortunately.
So I think that this is the end of an era for Call of Duty, but it could be the birth of a new era for gaming. So now that we've discussed all the details, I want to offer you an opinion. This is truly the end of an era for Call of Duty and the beginning of a new era for gaming in general, more specifically for FPS gaming and AAA gaming, but definitely a new era. Call of Duty's decades-long dominance is over. Battlefield literally crushed them this year. Several other games did too, to be honest. The community's sentiment has turned negative against Black Ops 7, and thus Call of Duty's time as the undisputed #1 king of first-person shooter gaming is donezo. There is a chance that this is a slap-in-the-face kind of wake-up call to the leadership at Activision to revitalize the Call of Duty brand in some way, and ideally, in the capitalist market that we live in with lots of competitors, that should drive competition and an increase in quality of goods because customers are going to choose competing products, or they're just going to choose whichever one is best. However, in our corporate-dominated world, oftentimes it's the people who made the mistakes that decide to who gets punished for their mistakes. And I don't expect executives to be punishing themselves. I think it's more likely to say that the business model that Call of Duty relied on, which was retail sales, has fallen off. And their secondary business model, which was selling in-game assets, is still a very popular one, but fell off uniquely for them because they made assets too cheaply with artificial intelligence. That and their player base is getting old. I personally have been playing Call of Duty for 25 years now, and the modern Call of Duty games seem to be made
years.
with TikTokification in mind. They're designed.
I've only played, played since I was 12. I just told y'all that story. So, like, what? 12 years? 13 years? 25 years. Unk?
To appeal to a new generation of gamers that I don't really fit into. So the game doesn't necessarily appeal to me, but I also don't think that it appeals to the Gen Alpha ADHD kids that they're trying to attract. Sometimes it just doesn't work for any group, and sometimes a failure, a bit of creative destruction is.
And see, I don't like this excuse. I don't know. I'm gonna watch like one more video, kind of targeting like another sector of this, but I don't like that excuse at all. I don't like the excuse of we're tailoring towards the kids. Call of Duty's tailoring towards the kids nowadays, dude. Hello, I got Call of Duty Black Ops 2 when I was 12 years old, dude. Had a great time with it. Was a great game. Like, I was a kid when I had Call of Duty. Keep in mind, Black Ops 1, 2, and arguably 3. I think 3, but some people say no. Black Ops 1, 2, and 3. Some of the greatest games of all time. Of Call of Duty's time. I was a kid. 12, 15, and Black Ops 1, I was like probably, what was that? When they come out? 2009, I was 9. I didn't play Black Ops 1. I played Black Ops 2, though. Like, I started with Black Ops 2. I played Black Ops 1 eventually in time, but I started out with 2. I was 12. So I don't like the excuse of, well, they're tailoring towards the kids. You know, it's not for you anymore, Unc. No, no, no. You sit to the side because they're tailored for the kids now. Well, dude, I was a kid. When Black Ops 2, like, Call of Duty's been a thing since I was 12. And it seemingly wasn't a shitty game back then when I was a kid. So why does tailoring towards the kids nowadays mean making a shitty game? Because when I was 12, it's not like I was too young to understand the good concepts of the game. And, you know, I didn't understand how to play the game or anything because it was too adultified. Like, it was perfectly fine the way it was for a kid like me when I was 12. And it still seemed to be fine for the adults too. It was a happy medium. So what changed? No. I don't think they're tailoring towards the kids. I think they know how to make money. Because since Black Ops 2 and since now, there have been loot crates, loot boxes, the gobblegum gambling system, now just a store just like Fortnite has, skins. There have been so many more methods that come out instead of just paying $15 for a DLC, which is how it used to be, right? You pay $15 4 times unless you got the season pass. They found out so many more ways to make money that trigger your reward dopamine receptors that they don't really need to focus on getting their money from making a quality game anymore. They can just reduce, reuse, recycle, and then upsell you on the other shit. Right? Just I don't have my keys with me, but imagine these are keys. It's a workout grip thing. It's like, oh, look, pretty cosmetics, oh, where's it going? Woo, go get it, Go get it. Oh, look, I got another one. I got another one. Oh, go get it. That's what they're doing now. Right, to distract from their horribly made game. So I don't believe the excuse of they're making it for kids. I mean, maybe the most susceptible audience is kids, but I was a kid when I played Black Ops 2. And I was perfectly fine with it. I didn't say, man, this game seems too adulty. I'm not going to play it. No, it was perfectly fine. The flashy, saturated colors, war, going in, shooting people, whatever, what have you. I mean, my kid brain could perfectly comprehend that. The story, even though at the time I didn't really play the campaign. That was probably till I was like about a couple years into playing Call of Duty. So I was like probably 14. But you get my drift, though? You get my drift? I just don't buy that. I just think that the actual answer is they're just getting cheap. They're just turning into Eugene Krabs. You know? They're just turning into Eugene Krabs.
Necessary to create change, and I hope that whatever change it creates, whatever comes next, is just genuinely fun. Be that from Activision or from Call of Duty or more likely somewhere else in the market. I just want this sort of destruction to turn into something good for all of you.
Amen.
I don't know what's coming next in the FPS space, or what the next big game is, or platform, or cool game mode like Battle Royale.
Yeah, his video's done. Do not buy... Hey, look, that's me. Do not buy Black Ops 7.
Hey, kids! Are you ready to meet Krabby the Clown? Yeah! All right, here you go!
Hey, kids! Thank you all for coming! Thank you! Eat plenty of Krabby Patties!
Do-do-de-doodly-doo, Krabs, you done it again!
I'll say you have.
SpongeBob?
How could you, Mr. Krabs?
How could you, Mr.
promised
Krabs?
these children Krabby the Clown, but all I saw out there was Chiefy the Cheapskate.
Hey, I ain't cheap! Now take this tomato back to the kitchen before it's spoiled.
Bro, I'm sick. I'm sick. That literally is Activision right now, bro. All I see is Cheapy the Cheapskate. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. That's not the video I wanted to show you, but hold on. Amusement park, bro. That's not what played through my head. Bro, where's it at, man? Oh, Krabby Land, that's what it is. Literally since Black Ops 7's launch, this is what I think of in my head when I see all the disappointment of Black Ops 7.
SpongeBob! You're just in time for the grand unveiling of Krabby Land!
Krabby Land, sir?
Yes, Krabby Land! Where a kid can have fun for the right price. Welcome to the Krusty Krab, young man. What's your name?
Monroe?
Nice to meet you, Monroe. Okay, children, it's time for the grand unveiling of money. Krabby Land.
Real.
Okay, kids, now promise Uncle Krabs that
Just get to the part on.
give you Krabby Land.
Real. That's the zombies mode right there. That's multiplayer. This is the campaign. Literally, because it lags you out mid-campaign.
Reminds me, I forgot to give you these coloring books / liability waivers.
And those are the skins.
And there's back. It's to meet the one and only Krabby the Clown. Have fun, and don't forget to eat plenty of vitamin-enriched Krabby Patties.
Lord have mercy.
Because I prefer the BO4 mechanics and systems. And that's certainly not exactly classic zombies. So if Cursed can make these maps play unique and different, then I'm all for that. But what about standard? What about just the base game?
Honestly, we just gonna run this both on mute, actually. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're just gonna have this in the background. First of all, I want to point out This is trash. Get it out of here. This is trash. Get it out of here. This is trash. I can't even see it. Is it in there? No, because he's in Tessie. Let me get gameplay of him with the weapons. That's Black Ops 4. Is this 7? Okay. Get this out of here. What are we doing? Who's your audience? This is why people say it's tailored towards 3-year-olds, because you have a literal knife as you're in your weapon slot for some reason. Visualize when you're holding it 2 inches from the picture. I'm gonna have a freaking aneurysm, bro. And then what is this? This is synonymous with everything in campaign, not multiplayer, but campaign and zombies. Why do we need to be told what we're doing that gets rid of everything special about zombies when you're literally having your little hand held about where to go and what to do? Stupid. Stupid. It is stupid. This garbage. This is what earlier when I was talking about the war zonification of everything. This doesn't need to be here. They have an option where you can turn it off. It needs to be the opposite. You need to have the option to turn it on for the 2 players who actually like to play zombies, who play Warzone. Guess what, Treyarch? You're not going to get everybody to play all 3 modes. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. Zombies is sci-fi. Zombies is a completely different play style. Zombies is a completely different everything than what multiplayer is, than what Warzone is, and what the campaign is. I was watching a video yesterday where somebody said, I don't even know what zombies is about. I never have, never will. It's just not my thing. I'm more in it for Warzone and multiplayer. You're not going to get that guy to give 2 shits about zombies by adding a mini map and a compass. Okay, can we get that? Can we get that straight? You're not going to get them to like Warzone by adding in this bullshit. You're only going to piss off the people who like playing this mode. Right? Same thing with the campaign. What have we heard most about the complaints for campaign right now? That it has zombies in it, and that it's at moments it's indistinguishable from zombies. Why? Because people who want to play zombies will play zombies, Treyarch. People who don't want to play zombies will play campaign or multiplayer. People who want to play campaign. I was watching videos yesterday where he says the first mode I always play for doing anything else is the campaign. Because I used to love the campaigns. That's what he said. They'll play the campaign for the campaign mode. They'll play multi. It's actually healthy, if you ask me, that there's these different divisions and that not everybody plays everything. But of course, Activision won't understand that because they're so disconnected. But it's actually pretty healthy that you have divisions of people that play your game. You're literally grabbing people from different sectors of genres and combining them into your game. That's actually pretty cool. That's actually comp, bro. Like that's actually a cool concept that your game is very diverse in this aspect. Before I continue, this guy's not really let me just load up some BO7 gameplay to put in the background. What's going on, everybody? Post edit Malachi here. So before I continue this next part, because we're about to talk about zombies, and trust me, I rip into them. This video was made before the Astra Malorum kind of reveal trailer and all the gameplay details, so I want to talk about that partly while I'm editing it. I will give them props for the intro cutscene. Very well done. Very, very well done. Now, where I want to criticize them immediately is the Ravagers coming back. I think that they'd rather create an excuse to bring enemy types into new maps than just create new enemy types that aren't bosses. So, or like mini bosses, like the alien robot floaty thing. So, I don't know. I mean, we've voiced our opinions about bringing bosses back many, many, many times, and they still do it. Crazy. You know, that was like one of the main complaints for Black Ops 6, and for some reason they thought it was a good idea to do with Black Ops 7. I don't know what they're thinking, to be completely honest. But in terms of the intro cinematic, it was really great. Now, I'm the type of person to say that Treyarch usually takes 1 step forward and 3 steps back. The modern Treyarch, anyway. And so their 1 step forward was definitely this intro cinematic cutscene. Their 3 steps back was because of the Ravagers. And I don't know, I just can't get behind that. But anyway, without further ado, let's get into the rest of the video. One more thing, a little PS before we continue actually. I do want to talk about this. I see all over social media and regarding zombies at least that people are like, "Well, we need to applaud them for doing this right and that right, and we need to make sure we criticize." Look, here's the thing. I will criticize them for what they need to be criticized for, because at the end of the day, they are the ones that messed this game up so damn bad. But I don't want to applaud them, and I feel like I shouldn't have to applaud them for things that they should have already been doing, because these are things that have been in the game already that we already loved, and they changed or got rid of or messed up, and it worked just fine before. If we have to constantly applaud them like we're applauding a toddler for taking baby steps, then maybe they shouldn't be the devs of this game. You know what I mean? If we have to constantly give them a green light on how to run their own game, then maybe somebody else should be the dev. And I get to this point here in the video later. Yes, maybe a good job, Treyarch, that was cool, I like that, but I just don't really believe in celebrating every single good move they make that they probably should have already been doing in the first place. You know, because really most of it is just reverting back to old gameplay. It's not like they're doing anything new that we like besides this Astra Malorum thing. It's mostly just drip feeding back to old content that we already asked for. My gripe really is just the fact that it was fine before. We didn't have a problem with storytelling before. We didn't have a problem with gameplay before. We didn't have a problem with mechanics, bosses being brought over, all this other stuff that I'm about to talk about in this video. We didn't have a problem with it before. You know, so it's like, why do we have devs that are now so incompetent in understanding that? I don't understand what went wrong or who is responsible. I'm not necessarily saying it's Kevin Drew. I don't know if it is. I don't know if it's Activision. I'm not sure what it is. But, yeah. Anyway, let's just get back into the video. Shout out MK Ice and Fire. We about to watch your clip, your video. Load, load, load. Okay. Reach your target audience with Roku. Is it because I said the words target audience? Anyway, I'm going to pause it, though, because I don't want to get distracted. Where was I? Yeah, so like I was saying, it's really healthy. It really is. Like, it's a great thing that you have, you know, these different people from all aspects. Where you went wrong is, what's the saying? All for one and none for all. Because when you try to please everybody, you're going to piss off everybody. And this is a perfect example of that. Why do we have this in here? Why do we have this in here? Why? What is all this, right? Even Tessie. Now, this guy's in first person, which I really, really love, but that was another complaint I had about this map in particular. Does he ever drive it first person? Right here. I hate this. I hate this with a passion. It literally looks like Warzone when you're driving it first person. You're literally just Warzoning. That's it. You're driving a Warzone car through Warzone. Or what was their open world zombies map? I can't even remember. Outbreak. You're just doing Outbreak at this point. Literally, it probably costs nothing to make sure that the person who goes in the front seat in Tessie goes first person. Everybody needs to be first person. It's first person right now. The game mode is a first person game mode. Nobody wants to play Call of Duty Zombies in third person unless they're dead set bored. That's just how it is. You're not DayZ, you're Call of Duty Zombies. You're not Fortnite, you're Call of Duty Zombies, right? So to go in third person it rips you out of the immersion. It just does. It just does. Especially when you have Warzone. Maybe there'd be an excuse for it if Warzone didn't exist and Outbreak didn't exist. But because those things exist side by side with zombies, the only thing you can do is, by default, is compare it to Warzone. By association. Garbage. Garbage. Garbage, garbage, garbage. I hate it so much. Another thing, right here. Like, I wish... I know that nobody, like literally nobody knows me, let alone Activision, but I wish Activision would just reach out and be like, hey bro, this is just a random thing. We're just kind of picking you in particular because we want to see how we can make this game better. I could literally be the head of Activision right now, I feel like. Because I would literally give 100% better ideas than what the hell ever else Activision got going on right now. At least in the zombies department, because that was my thing, you know. But these plates, get them out. There was an interview with Kevin Drew and some of the zombies devs talking about plates, and they were like, well, trust me, for curse mode, you're gonna want to whittly have plates. You're gonna want whittly have plates because it's so difficult. Whittly gonna want to have plates. Why? Why? Because the zombie damage is harder? Okay, then scale the zombie damage down to where we don't need plates. Like, you guys are literally devs here. You guys are literally the creators. With the palms of your hand, you crafted this game. Crafted to where you don't need these plates. However that need be. Treyarch, we're not just saying keep the gameplay the same and remove the plates. We're saying craft the gameplay to where you don't need the plates. Where that's not a gameplay icon. That's not a necessity in a video game. Or in zombies, I'm sorry. You don't need it. We don't need it. Nobody wants it. Like, basically what you're saying is these plates are going to continue until the end of time because you created a beast so hard that it just cannot be played without plates. Really? Is that what you're saying? Because that's what you're implying. You can't take these plates out because the gameplay mechanics require you to have plates. Okay, so what are we saying? Right? Another thing I want to talk about is the relics. The relics, disgusting, trash. I hate them all. Now, if they were to give us good relics, such as the relics we asked for, such as no plates, no rarities. That was another thing I wanted to complain about was the rarities. You know, 4 perks, which they do have in there. If they gave us all the ones we asked for first, and then wanted to do some fun ones, like your gun swaps out every round, or all what was it, doppelgas spawn in, only doppelgas spawn in, sure. We don't want the lame ones, Treyarch. We want what we asked for. Right? You marketed Cursed as like a classic game mode for the classic players. That's what we wanted. We don't want only doppelgas. No, we don't want that. We don't want anything to do with Black Ops 6, actually. We'd like for this game to be a completely different game, actually, Treyarch. We don't want any relics that do only doppelgas. No, we don't. Like, it's not that hard to understand either. It really isn't. We wanted classic zombies. Classic point system was a great baby step in the right direction. And then you just threw it all away by just fucking everything else up. Like, you made the Pack-a-Punch 10,000 points to start off at tier 1. Really, dude? Really? Oh, it's because you're earning so many points on one. Okay, well, in Black Ops 3, I didn't really seem to have a problem with that. Call me crazy. I didn't have a problem with Pack-a-Punch back in 2015 when Black Ops 3 was out, and when the Black Ops 3 point system, I didn't have a problem with Pack-a-Punch. As a matter of fact, I think I spent a lot of points on Pack-a-Punch constantly because I repapped the gun trying to get different, what was it, like ammo mods. I don't think I had a problem with Pack-a-Punch back then. And, you know, at a certain point, and this is something that, again, they just don't understand, but like, it's kind of like getting rich. It's kind of like the game of life, right? Like, the goal in zombies is to start out as vulnerable as humanly possible, and by time you die, you're supposed to be omegally powerful. You're not supposed to be constantly stuck in a state of limbo of trying to get points because you can't figure out what points to save your money up to spend it on, like you're caught in points poverty. It's supposed to work like an elevation system. So like by round 1, you're vulnerable. By round 30, you've got like 100, 200,000 points where if you want to switch it up because you're bored, you can go hit the mystery box, get a random gun that you barely tried, Pack-a-Punch it, and you know, get some variation in there. You can't do that in here. Classic mode just needed to be classic. Why, speaking of, why do we have to play your shitty ass mode in order to play Cursed? It's almost like you acknowledge that nobody wants to play your Krabby Land ass map or gameplay style when you switched it from everybody has to do the Easter egg in order to unlock Curse mode to one person has to beat the Easter egg in the world in order to unlock Curse mode. It's almost like you realized that once you took the blanket off and instead of this giant Disney World structure, it was a bunch of garbage on the floor. And everybody was like, yeah, I'm just not going to buy Call of Duty Black Ops 7 then. They were like, oh, no one wants to play our mode. Huh, I wonder why. I wonder why. It gets me so passionate, bro, because I really love Black Ops, bro. And they've just got me tight, bro. Pause. Because it's like, what are we doing here, bro? And then you got the drip feeding. You know, you got the drip feeding nostalgia bait, like having Richtofen and Dempsey and everybody in here, you know. That one I can kind of excuse a little bit. I don't know. You had Richtofen for Cold War, like the ending of Cold War, and Black Ops 6. What happened to that storyline? You just threw it in the trash? Because you realize you were bad at storytelling? I don't... What happened to that storyline? We don't know. We will never know. At least not for now. Because you immersed us in a dimension with more Richtofens, more Dempseys, more Nikolais. What happened to the Richtofen from the other dimension? I don't know. And then that reminded me of something else, and now I can't think of it. Hold on, let me try and think. Let me reach... Oh, dude. Notice how... Oh, wow. The character count in here is actually wild. We've got Takio, I think the main character from the campaign, but I don't even know, and Ted. Ted is actually comp. That's kind of cool. But notice how nobody's the current crew. I mean, the Black Ops 6 crew. Because it was the most boring, static... What are other insults I can throw? I don't even know. Just imagine I said more insults, characters I've ever heard of. I still didn't know the black guy's name until this game. His name's Carter now. I know that. But I didn't know that. It's referred to him as the black guy. Weaver I knew because of other Call of Duties. Maya, I learned her name probably like DLC 1. And I still can't... Who's the first... Gray. Gray is the final character. And I didn't know her either. I just called her the British girl. All the way up until DLC 4 because I didn't care enough. The game didn't give me a good enough reason to care about these characters. Like, let's just take... Because they seem to think that the only way we'll pay attention is the Ultimus crew, the Primus crew, and that's it. Hello, Black Ops 2. The Transit crew. They were interesting enough. The Mob of the Dead crew. They were only featured for one map. And they're the most iconic characters of all time. Call of the Dead. A little less... known besides George Romero, but you get my point. What are some other one-off ones? I can't think. Are there any more, or is that it? Oh, you get my point. Call of Duty has clearly made one-offs with different character casts in the past, and even with one map have made them the most interesting crew where you just want to know more. Let alone an entire game of just a nothing burger with these characters, bro. The most boring characters. Maya's trope, her thing is just that she cusses a lot. It's funny, haha. Haha, she curse. And she kind of is like a, I drink monsters all day and go home and work on my dually truck. Like, I mean, I don't know what... I mean, that's kind of her shtick. That's kind of her thing. Carver, bland. Weaver, pretty much bland. Gray, extremely bland. What's this? Is this an ad? Oh, look at that. Another feature I hate. The crafting table. What is this, bro? Really? Another Warzone element. Bro, I could give you everything in the sun to complain about this game because there's really just not much left that I like about it. There's stuff that I kind of dealt with for Black Ops 6 that I thought, you know what? I could deal with this for a game. But no, they really want this to be the motto going forward. Like, they want this to carry over into every next game. Every following game. They really think this is like the motto now. This is the move. This is not a banger. This is not a banger, dude. And I know bangers. Okay, I know bangers. This is not a banger. That's pretty much it. The one positive I will give this game is that... Let me rewind to see if I can go towards a more... I will say, if you removed all garbage in the world that they infested this game with that I just complained about, The map is pretty. The map is really, really, really pretty. I will give it that. The map is pretty. And it has aura beyond comprehension in comparison to any Black Ops 6 maps. It does. I'll give it that. The health bars. That's another thing. Like, this on the screen, the little points on the screen, bro. What are we doing, bro? It's such a shame. I've said this since day one. I think Kevin Drew and everybody else either needs to be shifted assets or fired. Like, maybe they're doing the other departments good that they're assigned to, but they're not doing zombies good. And Jason Blundell, he had one bad game, Black Ops 4. And I'm going to stand on that. I'm standing on that. I did not like Black Ops 4. I thought it was bad in all departments, including zombies. I think the story was good, but the gameplay was ass. I did not like any of the gameplay elements about Black Ops 4. He had one bad game. Since Kevin Drew, they've had 3. I don't know if Kevin Drew was responsible for Modern Warfare 3. But I do know Cold War, Black Ops 6, and now 7. Pause. 3 bad games in a row. So, if you're going to get Jason Blundell out of there after he just made the best games of your lives, the reason why you guys have a reputation over one bad game, then you need to go ahead and get to booting Kevin Drew out the studio, man. Get somebody more creative. Get somebody more understanding and well connected with the community. At this point, I would say just hit Blundell up. Send him a drunk text at 3 a.m. and be like, hey, bro, I miss you. Where you been? How things going? Listen, we really need you back at the stew. You know, we miss when you were making them bangers, hit after hit after hit after hit after hit. And the community just loves you. We'll double, triple, quadruple your salary. How does $500,000 sound to come back to work with us? And if he says no, the next step, I'd honestly just reach out to Milo, to Mr. Raffle Waffles, bro. Or Noah J. Or Dalek. Or all of the above, and to say, hey, how would you guys like to be the creative heads for Treyarch? Zombies. I don't think they'd let us down at all. Because they'd immediately get to stepping in the right direction, I think. And if not that, then get somebody who's like a book writer. Because really, at the end of the day, what Zombies is a story. It's a story. You know, the gameplay was now realizing this through, you know, like I didn't realize it at the time, but now after so many bad games, I realize Zombies was a cohesion of story and gameplay. You know, you go to movies and you watch the movie. And if it's a good movie, it's because what you watched, what you sat and watched was really great. Maybe it was immersive. Maybe it was great storytelling. Maybe it was great visuals, you know, like Interstellar. But video games, you're actually immersed in the story. Like you're actually playing as the person in the story. And what I've realized about Call of Duty Zombies is that it was telling a grandiose story that you were currently playing a part of because you're playing as the character in the story. It's like reading a book or watching a movie, but being 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 more steps immersed than a book or a movie. And if you have shit storytelling, then the gameplay will just fall apart because they go like peanut butter and jelly, man. They go like Mario and Luigi, bro. You know? They're one and the same. They're yin and yang, bro. So, you know, if you can't get Milo or Blundell to come back, or get Blundell to come back, you can't hire Milo. Get somebody who's a really good author, who's really good at curating stories, fictional stories, sci-fi, fictional stories, and hire them. Maybe they'll get the job done. But yeah, that's my gripe with Zombies. I think I'm done ranting about it. I think I've spent literally an hour ranting about Call of Duty alone. But I wanted to get at least one video or one instance of me talking about Call of Duty because I didn't want to let it go under the rug. You know, I kind of started this so I could have a voice in general to put on the internet. And so I wanted to give my opinion on this. This is just my personal opinion. Maybe others think different. I think the general consensus right now is that everybody's pretty much on the same page. except for the 66,000 people who bought the game on Steam. And even then, I heard some people are doing refunds, so that's nuts. But oh boy.